He was facing it all alone, in the shadows, away from watchful eyes. And I realized I had a choice, to walk away, or to step into a place that would change everything. The house felt still, almost too still. Do you remember that eerie calm that sends a shiver down your spine? It felt like the walls were waiting for something to happen. So was I. I stood there, barefoot in the hallway, staring at his door. The soft light beneath it flickered gently, and the only sounds were the ticking clock and my own heartbeat. Sweetheart, I wasn't looking for trouble, I swear. But when you feel truly alone, even silence can sound like an invitation. He had been retreating into the room night after night. No music, no TV, just darkness. At first, I thought it was grief. I told myself he just needed time, but it went on too long. And that night, something felt different. I didn't knock. I didn't speak. I just stood there, one hand resting on the doorknob, frozen. Oh, how I wish I could say I found the strength to walk away. But sometimes, I feel like I've lost my way. I don't know what the right path is anymore. What do you do when you see your own emptiness reflected in someone else's eyes? I wasn't just checking on him, I was searching for something too. Something I hadn't felt in a long time. Not love, not desire, just connection. Just the hope that someone truly sees you. And that is the part we rarely talk about. Sometimes it is not about longing, it is about not wanting to be invisible. There was no plan for what happened. But something inside me shifted that night. Once you cross that kind of line, you can pretend you're the same person. Have you ever felt like you didn't exist in your own home? Have you ever stood before a door, torn between hesitation and hope? Maybe with some reflection, you'll understand what I did next. Join us at Love, Lies and Truths, and let us journey together through the stories that move us. Because this story it wasn't easy, sweetheart. But it is true. And now, I think it is time to share it. You're 38 now. Married. On paper, everything looks fine. The house is beautiful. The car is reliable. A husband with a solid income. But within these walls, there is an emptiness. My husband, Mark, believes that bringing home a paycheck is the same as being present in a marriage. He is always traveling. He is so attached to his phone even when he is home. Our conversations feel like calendar reminders. What bills to pay, what is for dinner, when is his next flight. It wasn't always like this. There was a time I felt special. Wanted. But life wore us down. Or maybe he just stopped noticing me. Stopped treating me like his partner. And I let go of the questions. I got used to the quiet. To the empty side of the bed. The clink of dishes in silence. Then Jake arrived, his son from a previous marriage. 19. Quiet, composed, thoughtful. He had been staying with his aunt since his mother passed away unexpectedly. A car accident. When college brought him back to our city, Mark suggested he move in to save money. I didn't object. How could I? It seemed practical. But the moment Jake stepped inside, something warm entered this house. Jake didn't speak much. Kind, but reserved. He kept to himself, headphones in, hoodie up, eyes lowered. I tried my best. I really did. Cooked his favorite dishes, left little notes on the fridge. Offered rides. But he never asked for anything. Every night, dinner became a quiet routine. Mark barely looked up from his phone. Jake answered questions with one-word replies. And me, I smiled through it. Tried to ignore the heavy silence. Sometimes, I'd watch them at the table, father and son, sitting so far apart emotionally. And I'd think, how can a home feel so full and so empty at the same time? I'd catch glimpses of Jake walking down the hallway. He moved gently, like he was carrying something fragile. I told myself I understood him. Maybe in a complex way, we were both grieving. He had lost a loving mother. I had lost a marriage. There were nights Mark traveled for work, and I barely noticed his absence. Oh, Jake, his presence felt like quiet comfort. Subtle, not clear, just there. We'd meet in the kitchen during late night hours. I'm wrapped in his hoodie, me in something comfortable. A nod, a smile, and the moment would linger, soft and spoken. Watching him do his laundry made me proud. A quiet maturity. He tidied up after himself. Once, someone helped me carry groceries in. A small thing, but it meant more than anything Mark had done in months. And that hurt me. Sweetheart, I noticed how he hesitated to meet my gaze, but stayed near just a moment longer than necessary. These small things speak volumes, don't they? I'd see him on the back porch, lost in thought. And I'd wonder what he was thinking. If only he understood what it is like to feel unseen. He didn't feel like a child to me anymore. Not after that first month. Not after I noticed the shape of his jaw. His hands no longer seemed like a boy's. And I can pinpoint when it happened. But one night everything felt different. After that, I tried to brush it off. As if it were just a fleeting thought. I kept cooking, kept folding laundry, kept pretending everything was fine. But I started noticing little things. Jake spent more time in his room, skipped dinner. Sometimes, I'd hear soft sounds from behind the door. A faint video glow. Mostly silence. He was just a young man. Grief comes in waves, especially at night. But his retreat felt different. It was more than sadness. A quiet withdrawal. Then one evening, the lights went out. The whole house was wrapped in darkness. No blow, no hum, just silence. I lit a candle and stepped into the living room. Jake was already there. Calm, waiting. He said nothing. And what unfolded in the darkness, it changed everything. We sat close, sharing silence and candlelight. He spoke gently. This house feels so empty when it is quiet, doesn't it? And I replied, you too. His words, his presence, they stayed with me. Later, he reached out and placed his hand on mine. Warm, quiet. I didn't pull away. We were two people holding on to something fleeting. Soft, sad, and real. He whispered, I don't want to feel alone anymore. And I let go. That night didn't end with drama. But it changed us forever. The next day, he didn't come up. Mark returned early. Jake kept to himself. Mark didn't notice. He never did. And the silence between Jake and me became unbearable. Then, late one night, I heard Jake crying. I stood at his door, whispered, I am sorry. And then he opened the door. His eyes were red. He said one thing. You said I wasn't alone. And closed the door again. I couldn't sleep that night. And maybe that was the worst of it. Because I meant it. I had wanted to help him feel seen. But what I gave him wasn't comfort. It wasn't healing. It was a fragile moment, made of confusion and longing. And now it lingers in the quiet. It echoes when no one is around. I sometimes wonder, should I have spoken up? Walked away? Because when loneliness distorts our needs, the difference between being wanted and being seen gets blurry. Have you ever felt that way? If so, tell me in the comments. Because your story matters. Even the messy ones. Even the ones we're afraid to say out loud. Some secrets aren't meant to stay hidden. But some are too heavy to say out loud. Thank you for staying with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe to Love Lies and Truths. Because the stories we carry, they deserve to be heard.